Hello, everyone. This is Realtor Linda Peltz. Today I'm here with Nicholas, and he's going to tell us all about his business. Take it away, Nicholas.
Yeah, hi. My name is Nicholas Olvera. I've been a realtor since 2006. Um, and when I started out in this business, it was really rough because that was when the bubble hit. And so I learned a lot of the things of what not to do at a very early age in my career, in the very beginning, because a lot of people were making a lot of mistakes real estate wise with their mortgages and buying more than what they could afford because they thought they were going to be able to flip it, and it was just really ugly back then. Um,
You
I've
kind of
been with a
you
couple
went
of
through that
companies. I've
big
been with
market crash then it sounds like 2006.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And so what that did is it opened doors for me to learn how to do short sales, to help people through that process and not lose everything, but to get out debt free, except for like taxes you have to pay. If you do a short sale, you have to pay the taxes on what's owed. But basically, you're shorting the bank the money that's owed on the house. And normally, that's what people that usually have like two or three mortgages. You work off the first one, or maybe the first two, and then the third or second one, whatever's left over, gets shorted to the bank, and whatever that is, you have to end up paying taxes on that. But the bank loses the money, the house gets bought, you get relieved of your debt, and then
The
you move on.
obligation to pay
So,
them, right? But yeah, there's still
right.
responsibilities. I don't think people quite understand that. They think short sell, right? And it's done and over, but there are repercussions for that, but it's always best, you know, and
Um,
and there's a lot of paperwork
yeah.
for you realtors, right? To kind of get that.
It's not as bad as you would think. I mean, basically, what you're doing is you're asking the bank for permission to sell this house on a short sale. Then they just send you a package. They say, "Okay, yeah, let's do this."
Hmm.
We're not in the real estate business. We're in the mortgage business. Here's the paperwork, and then you just go through it. But it's not as bad as all that. It's just making sure that from A to Z and everything they ask for, and you lay it out for them and why you're in the position you're in, and move forward, and they
It's
move
just
forward.
the
But
time consumption, I think, as much as anything.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And if you do your taxes right and you have all your files in a cabinet and everything's together, then you won't have a problem. If you don't, then that's when it gets into a big tiff.
And that's
And
what
so
you help your client with is all that.
that is, I give them the list and say, go get this. I need this information from you. And then once they bring that information, then we just put it all in the file and send it back to the bank, and we move forward. But that being said, like I said, I've been a realtor since '06, and I've done a lot of stuff. I've done commercial, I've done ag, and I've done residential, and then and I've dealt with a lot of different issues when it comes to real estate.
There's a lot of issues
So
that creep up, I don't think are normal, clientele
no, I
really
mean,
realizes,
I could.
but you can have
For one,
a lot of aggravating circumstances on each transaction that you got to work through.
yeah, and I'm going through that on one right now. I've had issues with the situation where we get into escrow, and then they come and do their inspection, and okay, the guy comes in and gives you all these things that he wants or he feels needs to be fixed, and a lot of times maybe it's not that big a deal, but maybe he's trying to make a buck because he wants to do all the fixings. And so he has a big list for you. And it's like, well, wait a minute. And we do ourselves, because I have a guy that, as a realtor, I have a maintenance guy and I have a contractor guy that I deal with. And so I get a list and go, here, what do you think? And then we go walking through it and do a physical check. He was like, oh, it's just that. Oh, okay, it's just that. Oh, well, that isn't bad. Okay. And so then it's not that big a deal.
Right.
Then you get into like paperwork stuff. Like right now, we have a situation where we're dealing with a probate, and the gentleman that passed away had his affairs in order. He had a will, and everything was set up. What happened is a long time ago, when he was having issues with his wife, um, he put his sister on title to kind of
Ugh.
protect himself from maybe her taking a house from him or whatever he thought was going to happen. Okay. So now here we are 20 something years later. He passes away, forgets about that. She dies, and now she has a husband that the probate sellers have to go deal with and say, hey, well, I got $100,000 coming. And he's like, well, no, this is what happened. And so now we're having to go through the part where whether or not he's going to take himself off title or not. Is he going to give it back to him and say, no, I understand and why they did this? Or is he going to say, no, I want my money. We need to work
Gimme,
this out
gimme,
regardless.
gimme.
That's the thing. And when it comes to family and all that stuff, it's really hard to kind of deal with those situations. So I just kind of step back and I let my escrow agent and I kind of talk with my sellers and say, okay, let's see the best way to deal with this where everybody's happy. Maybe we can give him a couple thousand, or maybe, maybe he understands that he has no part of this and this is why it would happen. It would happen. But it all depends on who you're dealing with.
I just had
So
this
that's
conversation with one of my lenders this morning on, because I deal with a lot of people's not getting married nowadays, right? But you're still in a business agreement when you have these houses in both names. And we were kind of chuckling. It's like maybe we should make that mandatory for our clients. They come in, they want to buy these houses, but they're not married, thinking they're protecting themselves from legalities. And it's like you get into a bigger mess when you're not married. Okay, maybe we should make it mandatory that they have a business agreement. Put in
right. I
when
mean, you
they
gotta
buy these
understand.
houses and go on title that this is what's going to happen when it doesn't work out. Because it would be a whole
That's exactly right. I was going to say,
years.
just because you walk in the front door all happy doesn't mean you're going to walk out the back door, happy.
Yeah.
You're going to be upset about something, especially if it goes bad. And you're
Mm-hmm.
right. A lot of people are not getting married, and it's too bad that's the way it's happening. I've been married for 23 years, and it's not perfect, but if you want to work at it, that's what it takes. Is you just make that
Well,
promise to yourself, you're going to
basically,
stay.
that's what a marriage agreement is a business agreement. We're going to play nice
Right,
and we're all going to get along. May not be perfect, but we're going to
right.
be amicable. Well, if you kind of skip that part, my recommendation, and we've talked about this a lot, me and one of my, a couple of my lenders, about put a business agreement in place if you're not going to do the marriage thing, because it causes a lot of legalities that we get stuck as realtors trying to get you out of.
Yeah, no, agreed. I'm sorry, my camera. Can you hear me still?
I can hear you. You're just kind of a
My
still
camera
picture.
keeps up. I don't know what happened. Hello. Anyways, so now, yeah, for as business goes, it's been kind of slow, um, just
Well, with
because
those
of
law
all.
changes in August, I kind of seen it
Yeah,
coming. And then
I
with the
mean,
interest rates and it's just a lot of
I don't want to get
aggravating.
in trouble with that by anything I say, but whenever I get involved, it's like right now I'm with the seller, and I just say, hey, look, they tried to change things up. I don't want to change things up. You're going to pay both of the. We can't call it a commission, but you're going to pay the fees to both the realtors,
It didn't
even
change
though I
there.
can
It's just
ask.
negotiation
Yeah,
more is longer at the offer process because we're dealing with that now. But you're still going to pay. It's just I can't tell you what you're going to pay because it'll happen at the
well, I
offer
mean, yeah, because
process at this point.
now you have to ask. Now you have to tell the buyer and say, hey, you know what? You might have to pay your realtor. But then what do they say? Okay, well then if we're going to do that, then let's come in 3% lower than what we offered. So either way, the buyer's going to pay, or seller's going to pay. One way or another, they're going to go try and negotiate this. So that's why I say, look, let's get the most money we can, and you just cover it like we used to, and don't worry about it.
Exactly.
And I tell the same thing to my buyer's agent. Hey, look, I told my seller, hey, we're going to keep it as it was, and we'll play the part for the the higher ups that want to put these laws and all this stuff and rules for us to follow. Let's follow them, and in a polite way, tell them like that, and just do what we got to do to get the deals done, because that's the bottom line. If your
Well,
seller's
and I
happy, the
think
buyer's happy. That's it.
right. And I think kind of the key is us realtors have to play nice with each other. Stop getting all,
Yeah,
it's just negotiation. It is what it is. If
right,
you told your client everything in the beginning, it's not that, it's just negotiation. Play nice.
right. And that's what I do. That's why I say, when you're representing the seller, it's like, hey, look, there's a window here that we could use, but if you do, then this is what's going to happen. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
easier just to keep the status quo and let's just move forward and negotiate. And that's what I did with my last seller. We're in escrow now. We still got to deal with this guy though. It just came up yesterday. So that whole probate thing and having to deal with this guy on title now just happened. We're supposed to close on the 15th. We can negotiate through this. We will. If we won't, then I don't know.
Yeah,
Other things I've been, yeah.
I don't think a lot of them realize too, and I try to point it out is homes are sold as is. I mean, a lot of times sellers will fix a few things, but it's not mandatory. I mean, you can ask, and I've even had it
No.
where some of them has literally not responded because they homes are really sold as is. You went in, you look. I mean, if there's a huge safety issue, definitely cancel. But if you're going to cancel just because the hand railing's loose or whatever, I mean, you need to rethink about why you're buying a house because there's no house that's out there that's going to be perfect. So I do find it kind of
No,
interesting at the renegotiation on some of these requests for repairs and different things. Kind of, they can really make or break
and
a deal.
that's what it comes down to is like, hey, if we can get enough of these requests for repair, it's like buying a car. Oh, this light doesn't work, or it's got too much mileage, or the paint job's no good, or it needs tires. And they're just trying to get you down on price, and they kind of do the same thing with homes. Um, and that's why I have a guy that does a lot of my repairs, and he's used to doing this. Okay, we've got an FHA coming up. Oh, okay, well that means smoke detectors, GFIs, all the stuff that's required by FHA needs to get done first. And so that's what I do with my guy. Anytime I got a house that I come for sale, say, hey, look,
Exactly.
can you tell the owner, hey, look, we want to be ready. Your house needs this, and this. You're gonna have to do it one way or another. So let's
Mm-hmm.
just get that done fast, and it'll help us find a buyer because when they come in, if the house is ready, and that's what we just did with this last house. We got it all ready, but they still found a few things, but
Mm-hmm.
not anything that we couldn't address within a couple of days' time. It's
Right.
not a big construction
Be
project. It's just
prepared
okay.
as a realtor. Always be prepared.
Yes, and so for me, that's how I look at it. Hey, you're going to sell this thing FHA. What does this house need? And if you go in there with that frame of mind with your guys and with your buyer, you're going to be ahead of the game 9 times out of 10.
Definitely, definitely. Just education. I think in general, that's a lot of our job description as a realtor is educating whichever side we're working on, whether it be the seller or the buyer. That makes the transactions go a lot smoother.
Exactly, and a lot easier too because they come in and there's not a lot there to fix, so they kind of lose. Like, well, I guess we're not going to be able to lower the price because, you know, I you know, paint hides a multitude of sin, and so when you go into a house and you go, you know what, man, let's paint this little room, let's paint this hallway, and let's do these little things. It doesn't take a lot of money. It really
It's one of
helps
the
because somebody comes into
quickest,
the home and they
cheapest
smell.
sprucing up fixes that there is just a little paint.
Yeah, I mean, what's a gallon of paint cost, or 5 gallons of paint? Maybe $100, but you're going to save yourself a lot of time. You're going to get a few more dollars because they come in and they smell that fresh paint and it looks good, and they're like, "Wow, there's no marks on, there's no holes. Everything it looks really nice." And so, again, I always kind of say, okay, well, what do you want to do? What don't you want to do? Because some people don't want to touch it. Some people are like, oh, yeah, let's go. What do we got to fix? What do I got to do? And so it just depends what kind of buyer or seller you're looking at, or buyer, or should I say seller you're looking at when it comes to this case. But it's
Bottom
been really,
line, and the cleaner the home, the more like you said, maintenance and prep work that you do, the more money they get out of their pocket from the equity. I mean, if
yeah,
you don't want to do anything,
yeah,
that's great, but there's kind of a range that homes go in. You're not going to get top dollar for a home that's needs quite a bit of maintenance. Whereas if somebody's went in and showed it some love and some care and kind of did all that, they're going to get more money out of it. So it's homes are sold as is, but the seller kind of determines where do you want that price range to fall at.
yeah. We did
One end or
carpet
the
and
other.
paint. We did carpet and paint on this home, and everybody was surprised at what we got for the home. I mean, there was a
Yeah.
couple of stipulating reasons that things that had happened, but you just got to find you guys got to be presentable, okay, and then B, you got to be in the right price range. We were a little high at first, which everybody usually is. And then after 3 weeks of open houses and no offers, I said, you know what? We need to come down and we need to be below this number, just below it. And if you get just below the number I was talking about, then you're going to get a lot of offers, and that's what you want. You want to get multiple offers, not just one. And that's what happened, and it was awesome. It worked out great, and my everybody's happy, and we're in escrow now, but we got to deal with a
Yay.
probate issue.
Isn't that our goal? I mean, as realtors, is serve the
Well, I did
client
my
well.
part,
And
but
I know.
yeah, yeah. But now we got to go through the escrow part, which is like, it's like I thought we were just going to get in and we were going to close on Friday, but that's not the case. And that's
Yeah.
part of the game is knowing where you're at and knowing what happens. And you people out there, buyers and sellers, make sure you know what's going on with your home, who's on title, moves you made to change things or protect things don't always work out in the end. So,
Do your
I would
housekeeping
suggest always make
before, a lot of times.
every new year, check out your title and check out your taxes and check out everything that you owe and that you do and make sure everything's up to date and everything's ready to
on
rock and
some of
roll because
the
you never know.
on some of the questionable ones, I mean, because there's a lot of goofy things that happen on this stuff, and it's one of their largest financial decisions. But on some of the questionable ones, I do a lot of pre-opens going, you find the problem so we can solve it now before we get into escrow, please. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, and that's why I was telling any of my clients, it's like, look, if you're a buyer, you make sure you have this home inspected by a professional inspector. They're going to go through your plumbing, your electrical, your AC unit, everything. And so they come to you and say, here, this is what I found, and these are the issues. Or, hey, this place is in excellent condition. You got no issues. And this is how the air conditioner works. This is how your hot tub works. This is how your sprinkler systems work. This is where your solar powers leads to, and if you have any issues, this is how this works. So it's also again more information about their home,
Mhm.
and either good or bad,
I
either good
think
or
one
bad.
thing I've had to stress to, especially some of my first time home buyers, is okay, you've got a home now that you're moving into, but keep in mind, eventually you're going to have to do maintenance on that home. You can't just live in it for the next 20 years and never do anything to it. Deal with the little bit of issues that creep up, and there's going to be issues. I mean, any home that we live in. I mean, my home has, issues that creep in. And of course, the dogs or the cats or the, extra people in and out, things just happen. So just deal with them. I got a
There's
frantic
normal.
call this morning from one of my clients that big home, 5,000 square feet, and the power is out in half of it. Linda, what do I do? Well,
Yeah, you get a hold of Angie.
for that
Angie's
one.
list.
So, I mean, things just happen. It doesn't matter what size the home, how new it is, how old it is. It's just maintenance, guys. So I would suggest get a hold of a good, somebody that you can trust that kind of knows that contractor world. And
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, you know, God bless them. My parents both died last year and
oh,
left
I'm
me
sorry to
this
hear.
beautiful big home. Yeah, I mean, they were 80, 81, and it was just their time. But that being said, we had a fire here in '07, and we totally redid the total of the whole inside of the house, new air conditioners, everything. So it's a brand new house as of '07. But that's how long? 14 years ago. So now here we are 14 years later, and I've got, oh gosh, got a leak over here. Well, the roof is brand new. Well, it's there, so you got to go through and fix it,
Gotta
and
go deal with it. Yeah.
irrigation problems, and just little things here and there. I'm like, man, we just redid this house not too long ago because I helped my dad do it, and it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, you're right. You got to maintain everything. It's always
It's
you
really
just don't
important. I
mix
think
here
it's
the
kind of
same.
scary sometimes for our first time, especially our young ones, young. And I say, keep my number on speed dial. If you have a problem, let me know. I'll give you my best advice. I'm not going to come do
Yeah,
it.
you're the forever realtor, right? The
I
forever
know, forever
realtor. Yeah, you got to
realtor.
stick with them the whole time,
But
right?
keep in mind, they
That's
will
the
need
newest.
maintenance.
Any other
Especially if I
questions?
go to
Anything else you
sell
want
it
to go
here in
on?
a few years, I want to make sure they did
I want,
something
yeah,
to
I
it.
want it to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. You want to know they
So
took care of it.
definitely. So you kind of specialize in short sales, it sounds like, and you can kind of handle
Well,
a lot of different situations that creep up, with which most of us really should be able to, or get out of the business, kind of. So a lot of
yeah. Yeah,
legalities.
that really, I mean, I haven't done any lately, but most of my stuff's been just homes and I sold a dentist office in LA not too long ago. That was interesting.
Commercial's a
And
different beast.
agriculture.
Yeah, commercial's kind of a different beast than our residential. So not near as many,
Yeah, yeah,
I guess, laws or stipulations on it. It's a little more Wild West, I think.
yeah, and dealing with some of these guys, they want everything, and it's like, look, this is the bottom line. Yeah, you're coming in with cash. Okay, great. It's $1 million. Great, awesome. Appreciate the business, but no, I'm not going to do this, and no, I'm not going to do that. This is where we're at. This is where it's going to be, and this is it. This is the price.
Right.
And so either they take it or they leave it. It took me a while to sell that one, but I really learned to have backbone in dealing with more of those commercial guys because they're a lot more. I won't say shady, but they're definitely coming at you with their
There's just not
guns
near as
and
many regulations on that commercial. So they don't have to.
no, they got
They
their
can
hands
be
on their
in,
guns ready to go. They want to get you. Yeah,
they do.
yeah.
How about
But I did it.
agricultural? You've
Ag,
done
I haven't done
agriculture.
it
How do
very
you find that stacks up to like the commercial versus the residential?
Um, agriculture is pretty basic. It's acreage, it's soil samples, it's how much fruit or how much the crops are producing, and it's taxes and back production records. So it's kind of the same as residential where you got to provide information. It's just different information,
Just
you know.
different information.
And a lot of
How
it
many
has to do with
leaves?
water.
Yeah, how many leaves, and like you said, what's the production record of? And I don't know.
Yeah,
It is different, but
and a lot of
it's a
it's
lot more
water.
record keeping, I think, than anything.
Yeah, but the biggest thing with ag is water. Do you get irrigation or you don't irrigate?
Hmm.
Because then you're going to have to pay for irrigation. And now in California, especially, they've really limited to how much water you can use.
Hmm.
So you're not in charge of your water anymore. The government is, and that's what's killing everybody around here is because, oh no, you're using too much water. Sorry, and it's like, man,
It's a
what do you
problem out
mean?
here. It really is.
And there's a lot of water, but they're not saving as much. They need to build new dams, they need to do other things to really prepare, and they're not. They just
Hmm.
want to charge us all the money that they can for water and everything about water, and they're in charge of the water. It's like, okay, well, what do you do when it runs out? Are you going to replace the water that we're paying you for? Well, no, you can't. So it's a
Hmm.
natural resource, but they're in charge of it. It is what it is. But ag's a good thing. I sold about 120 acres. This back in like '09 or 2010. And it was good. You have farmers where they're big farmers and the family's had it for 20, 30 years, and then there's nobody left to take it over. So then you have another family that's just starting out that comes in, that's getting momentum, and they're buying all the old guys out. And now you have a new farmer and a new family that took over everything in the valley. And that's where we're at right now. There's some new
Yeah.
farmers in the area, and the old ones have passed on. And now it's a new day. Everything
It
keeps
used
going. It's just in a
a
different.
lot of that ag, like you said, it just kind of passed from generational. It was generational wealth, just passed from generation to generation. But you're right. A lot of the
Right,
younger
right.
just just don't want it. Just sell it. I want
No, and
money.
just sell it, give me my money, and I'm gone. And I'm just like, man, I wish I had a farm. I had 20 acres. I'd have fun with just 20 acres.
Hmm.
I like to lead a simple life. I'm not out to keep up with the Joneses. I'm a musician. I like to play guitar and have fun and keep it simple. And
We have to have a balance in our life. We work a lot as realtors and self-employed, so balance is we have to have balance for our family. So definitely,
yes,
here you get
especially
outside,
like
get to
my
do it.
kids are young. Oh, well, my son's 18, so he's not that young, but my daughter's 12, and so I'm having to spend more time with her now because he's finishing high school, and so I got to be there with her through her sports and work with her through her thing. And that's good. That's why I became a dad. You guys spend time with your family.
Definitely. And I think the general population needs to realize realtors in general, we have lives just like everybody else. We are on call a lot, 24 hours a day some days, especially on some of these
Right.
premises and stuff. But, when they're griping about our wage or this or that, what they don't understand is I worked 40 hours, but I didn't get paid for that 40 hours. So when we do work that we get paid for, yeah, we're gonna, it costs money. So we have to feed our family and keep a roof over our head too. So I think
Yep.
that's definitely just a misconception of a lot of the public that, oh, we don't work very hard for our money, but my friends all
That's
laugh.
not true. That's
My
not true. We
all
work
like work so hard and you don't get paid for
a
half
lot
of it.
of the time just a lot of times just for free. It's like we're busting our butts and we're not getting paid. How many times did I show that guy like 20 houses and he didn't buy one? Or how many times did I go show this lady, this, and this, and then she went with her friend after all to go buy the house? And you're like, oh, well, why are you wasting my time and my gas and my money?
Yeah. Hence
And
why all
that's
those
just the
big law
nature of the beast.
changes, the buyer's agreement. You be loyal to me, I'll
Yeah.
be loyal to you, because we all need
Yeah.
we all need a break here as realtors. You're wearing us out.
Oh, totally. Totally.
Uh,
Totally.
well, it was great talking with you. Do you have some contact information in case somebody'd be interested
I
in?
do. I do. My real estate office number is 559-638-3651. My personal cell number is 559-393-3782. And if you would like to email me, you could email me at my last name, which is Olvera, Olvera, at hotmail.com.
Nice, good way. And
Look
I
forward to
will
hearing
include
from
the
anybody.
information down below, everybody. And hopefully you give Nick a chance and maybe you can do some business together. Everybody, this is
Definitely.
the Peltz, and it was lovely speaking with you, Nick. And I hope you found this information valuable. We are here for all you and your friends' real estate needs and questions. Just give it either one of us a call. And if you want Nick's number, just get a hold of me. I can hand it off to you. Everybody, have a great day. I will catch you on the next one.